Great to have back with us. It's for the first time in 2023, our regular guest talking wool, Andrew Partridge from Michell Wool. How are you going today?
Very well, thanks, Ricky. Yourself?
Excellent, thank you. The wool markets, plenty of other markets, haven't slept over the break. This is our first chat, but we're actually in the second week of sales, and it's going pretty darn well.
It is, mate. Yeah, no, we as was sort of well reported, those 2 or 3 sales prior to Christmas market went gangbusters. Went up the best part of nearly $2 a kilo a lot of types, and particularly in the merino realm. And then you had the 3-week break, and quite often, finishing on a high, it's like, how do we transfer those prices into the mills overseas? And here we are, second sale back, and the market's maintaining, if not even just adding a few more cents to where it was actually before the break.
So little wonder people are looking to get a big piece of that action. It was just the good prices, even though there was a huge offering as well.
Exactly right. Yeah. So pushing through the old analogy on the show floors around Australia for wool buyers, and it's a nice even week when we see sort of 35 to 45,000 bales. Its terminology is that's easy to trade and that's easy. Markets can all handle that sort of thing. We've been pushing north of 45 to sort of 55,000 bales, and the market's handling it okay, and if not getting dear. But just be noted that the crossbred selling season's flat out at the moment, and that's the biggest portion of the offering. So when you actually take out crossbred wool, which is probably 50% of what's going through the sales at the moment, the merino selection and merino supply isn't as high as maybe what everyone thinks.
Yeah, look, on this front where the market's got some positivity around it, some economic commentary I've seen around on Friday indicates that maybe China is opening up again and there might be some pent-up savings from people being locked down looking to get out and buy again. Are you getting those sorts of whispers out of your connections in China yourself?
Yeah, certainly. They're a bit funny, the old Chinese. I deal with a few Chinese agents, and of course they're in just WeChat. They love WeChat, these guys. They don't actually talk to them much. So you just give me how you're going for your New Year's. I'm working through the New Year's. Are you going to see your family? Yes, I am. But I think if you cut it into 2 groups, you talk about this big affluent, the middle class group of Chinese who have probably got annual leave and getting paid, and through COVID maybe got some payments when they were locked up in their homes. The mill workers and the blue-collar workers, I'd say, would be the complete opposite. They probably didn't get paid. So you talk about the spend out of the westernised economies, who had probably money banked up for the lack of spending and went gangbusters when they got unlocked. I just think the Chinese, even though there's over 1 billion of them, yes, we're going to see some more consumer spending, but you take out, there's a big middle class, don't get me wrong, but that lower class stuff, they probably won't have the money they'll spend. They'll go out and visit their families and might do a couple extra things, but I think probably the middle class Chinese, they're the ones, and so there's definitely going to be some extra consumption. Yeah,
what I'm getting at is we talked towards the latter part of the year, our concern there might be a recession in the US and China that might stave off opportunities for growth in the wool market, but it does seem like even on the industrial front, if China fires up the industrial complex again to catch up on lost time, they're suggesting maybe China won't hit a recession, and that might be good news for Australia and hopefully good news for the wool industry.
Oh, 100%. We don't. Unfortunately, as it's well reported again, 80%, 90% of our wool clip goes over there for processing. So we need their mills firing, and their export market's getting bigger and bigger. We believe there's a loose number that 50% of what goes into the country goes back out into export sort of sales. So we need their mills firing, and they're very definitely competitive into Europe and all the places that we sell wool and trade wool and process wool into. So, we need them. There's no doubt about that.
Now, just lastly, we talked about the numbers. You mentioned that sort of sweet spot figure. Are we seeing that in next week's offerings?
Yeah, so the thoughts are we're just on par with the production numbers, and we need to the production forecast is we're producing more wool. So the feeling is that we're supposed to have bigger offerings in the second half of the financial year. So it hasn't actually hit our radars yet. It's the 4-week forecast is telling us the actual offerings are going to just peel back under 50,000 bales again. So we're anticipating bigger sales, particularly out of Victoria, and it's not arriving in the short picture. That's for sure.
Yeah, so maybe if supply's a little tighter than is expected, maybe we could see some continued price rise. We'll have to check in on that next week with you, Andrew.
Thanks, Ricky.